Hello, Jake Like here, gaming lawyer at your service. I've talked about several legal stuff now, which were mostly employment laws and other general information. Side note, hope they were helpful, but did you know in real life, I'm what you may call a real estate lawyer or a conveyancing lawyer. Someone that specializes in all legal dealings or transactions related to lands and buildings. And as you have seen the thumbnail or title of the video, I'm not going to tell you how to carefully buy properties. Maybe another episode, but now I'm gonna explain why millennials, the new generations, is finding it more and more difficult to buy properties themselves. And as always, before I start, I would like to emphasize that information provided in this video is only for education and entertainment purposes. Please seek qualified professionals if you want to live with your parents forever now. Alright, I'd like to add another disclaimer. What I'm about to tell you is strictly based on my own anecdotal experiences and how property transactions work in Malaysia. You probably have your own beliefs and experiences on how to best approach property purchases. By all means, let me know down in the comments. Regardless, let me explain the types of residential properties that most people will find in the market. Those that are considered second-hand properties that are sold by the owners by themselves or through property agents, and the other being project-based properties, ones that are either being built or have been built by property developers to be sold as new, and you're probably having the first thought popping in your mind. Which one is cheaper? None of them are, at least considering the average young adult's purchasing powers on their own. And why is that? Well, let me tell you, how does one pay to own properties? You either pay by cash or take a loan from a bank to help finance your purchase. For practical reasons, no one is gonna be able to fork out substantial amount of money on their own unless they have been working for decades and are able to save hundreds of thousands of cash. Let me try to expand on this. At minimum, most young adults are going to look for properties that are spacious enough at most for a small family to live in. In Malaysia, this type of properties normally cost around 400,000 ringgit, approximately 95,000 US dollars, or higher in major cities. A Malaysian living on minimum wage is 1,500 ringgit. As of 1st April 2022, approximately 355 US dollars per month. It will take more than 267 months or 22 years for that person to get enough money to pay by cash. Even doubling the salary, it still takes at least 11 years, and not to mention we're considering any other costs to deduct from the salary. So yeah, how does the average person get a loan to buy properties then? Well, for Malaysian residential properties, banks are willing to finance 90% of the purchase price of a property, so only have to pay 10% upfront by cash. But in return, you must make monthly repayments of that 90% with additional monthly interests charged to you. That is, if you're eligible for the loan. Banks nowadays are pretty strict with individuals' financial status. If they have doubts that you can make repayments consistently, your application for a loan will be rejected in the first place. So a person with minimum wage or with substantial debts and expenses to be paid would be impossible to get any bank loan for a property at this price. But let me briefly explain how much banks will make you repay each month. Typically, it is around 0.33% of the purchase price of the property. Using the same sample, it's about 1,320 ringgit or approximately 312 US dollars for a property with a price of 400,000 ringgit. And what do we usually determine a person can afford this repayment? Well, the general rule of thumb is that it should not be over 30% to 40% of your monthly income. Above that, and you are considered overburdened with debts, which is about 4,000 ringgit to 5,000 ringgit or 950 US dollars to 1,200 US dollars of monthly income. Be aware that sometimes bankers don't care how much you earn and will go through any loopholes possible to get your loan application approved, so they hit their sales target. Looking at the above estimates, you might be thinking at that income bracket, there should be no problems for young adults to own houses, right? Absolutely not. There are numerous factors that you have yet to take into account which will make buying impossible or make life miserable with debt. First off, there are not many jobs with companies that will offer that kind of salary immediately for fresh graduates. Typically, you'd have to work for years to get small amounts of increments to reach your desired salary to buy a house without overburdening yourself. Second, if you do not have enough savings or cash to pay for your portion of the purchase price, you won't be eligible to buy in the first place. And how are you going to get that much money to pay when you are at the start of your career path? Thirdly, imagine the time you will have to fully repay the loan. I'll save you the time calculating. It takes roughly 360 months or 30 years to settle a loan. You will be spending your entire life repaying this loan with a portion of your income until your old age. Lastly, if we only have to think about spending money on buying properties alone, that's not really a problem. But our lives are full of debts, costs, and expenses that needs to be paid. We need to eat, pay for medical bills, spend money on the small things that we enjoy in life. When we travel anywhere, there is costs to that. Car or public transport expenses. There is also many different insurances we have to pay for because life is full of risks and dangers. Even the house itself have costs to pay, such as utility and maintenance charges that has to be paid forever, as long as you own it. So there's that. I'd like to finish this lecture by having you all, specifically those that are still young that wants to own a house, a studio, or an apartment, to consider these questions, because I know people have regretted buying properties, myself included. So ask yourself, why are you really buying a house for? Is anyone pressuring you for reasons other than your own? Are there cheaper ways to solve your issues or needs, like renting or living with a friend or family instead? Have you really considered all the financial, societal, environmental, or legal factors in purchasing a house? If you can't answer the above questions with confidence and commitment, please don't sign that contract to buy a property. You are dangerously not ready for the responsibilities and burdens of owning one. Thanks for watching. Today's video is a bit short, but if it was helpful to you, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Or if you have any concerns or advice in buying a property, feel free to comment down below. And if you would like to help or support me in continuing making this content, you can make donations or become monthly members in Ko-fi to get exclusive membership perks, which the details can be found at our Discord community server, Light & Co Gaming Aid Center. Link is in the description below. Until next time, be hopeful but stay critical.